folks, it's Mr. Fly here, hope you're well. Now I'm a huge fan of this stuff. ACF50 stands for Anti-Corrosion Formula 50, and what you do is you spray it on your bike in the winter, and the idea is it protects your bike over the winter season from corrosion taking hold on your bike. So if you stick around, stay tuned to this video for the next few minutes. I'll tell you what it is, how you apply it and what it does. So what is this stuff then, ACF50? Well, it's something that was developed in the aviation industry, which is where I first came across it. It's developed to a high degree of specification. It actually complies to something called Mil Spec 81309 Type 2 and 3, which I suspect is a military specification. And that means that it's basically approved for use on all metals, electrical systems and components. It's a corrosion prevention and inhibitor. That basically means not only does it stop corrosion, but it stops corrosion that's already taken hold continuing, and in fact it can lift some of that corrosion off as well. It's a very clever chemical compound. It's just not a matter of just spraying oil on and leaving an oily surface to protect your metals. What it actually does is gets underneath any tarnishing and reverses and lifts that out. So it really is a clever piece of kit, which is why I like it. What else to say about it? It's slow to deteriorate. It's got an active life of 10 to 18 months once you've sprayed it on, so it lasts for a season, no problem. I usually apply it a couple of times over a season, just because I wash my bike in between times, and of course it will wash off to a degree, although it bonds with the surface level of the metal concerned, so even if you wash your bike, it doesn't wash it completely off, but the stuff can be quite sticky, so you know, I do wash my bike in between application. So I've already applied it to my BMW this year. I'm going to apply it again now for its second blat this year. So stick around, stay tuned, I'll show you how to do that. Right, so just before we get into the application and so on proper, I thought it might be quite fun to do a little test, to put some of these claims to the test that the ACF boys make to see if it does work. So what I'm going to do is a bit of a long-ish term test on this stuff. I've got here a couple of just steel nails, okay, just 3-inch nails. They're not galvanised or anything, I hope, otherwise this will be absolutely rubbish test. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to treat one with ACF50 and not the other one, then I'm going to stick them outside for a week, and then we'll come back in a week's time. I'll put that at the end of the video and we'll see what's happened to them. Okay, so I've got some ACF50 here, which has just been warming up in this hot water for the last 10 minutes or so. Give it a little shake, and an apply on this one. Okay, so just sprayed it on there, and then I'll just wipe it around to make sure it's all over the nail. In fact, let's just put it in there like that, and then just wipe it off. Okay, there we go. So that one's been treated. I'm going to take it outside. I'm going to stick it on that side of this lid so we can see which one's been treated, and we'll put it next to the other one. We'll see we'll come back in a week's time and see what it's done. So before we get cracking on applying the ACF50, there's a few things you've got to do. First of all, give your bike a really good clean. Now I won't show you how to do that. I've got another video on cleaning your bike. You can check out the link to that. But I don't just mean a quick wash off, I mean a thorough clean. It took me a good 2.5–3 hours this morning to clean the bike ready for this. You want to get into every nook and cranny, use a toothbrush, do whatever you can to remove mess and dirt, because you don't want to be spraying the ACF50 over the dirt necessarily, because obviously it won't get under the dirt to do its job. So give it, you know, a clean within an inch of its life before you do that. So I've done that on this bike, so that's fine. And then the next thing that you want to do is just cover your work area with some sheets. So I'm going to put some newspapers down, because there'll be quite a bit of overspray with this, and I don't want to get the floor all slippery. And then the next thing I do is cover the wheels, because I want to make sure I get no ACF50 on the tyres or the brakes. And also you'll notice I've taken the seat off the bike as well, because I don't want to get anything slippery on the seat, and also I want to spray the electrics under the seat. So that's the next thing to do. So I'm going to get suited up, put round the newspaper and so on, cover the wheels and brakes, and then we'll get on with the application. Okay, sorry for the deterioration in sound quality. My microphone just packed up. Promise I'll buy a new one, so I'm on the on-camera microphone. Not very good, sorry about that. Okay, so the bike is all prepared. I've put my wife's best towels on the wheels to cover the brakes. We've got the seat off. Plenty of newspaper around to stop overspray on the floor. What we don't want to do is obviously get the ACF50 on the handlebars where you grip it, on the foot pegs, or on the tyres, of course, because it's also a lubricant. So make sure you're careful about that. Other than that, you can spray it where you like. It can go on the plastics, it can go on the metals, it can go on the electrics. And in fact, it brings the plastics up lovely, and on the electrics it does them a favour because it keeps the moisture out. It's designed for electrics, so that's one of the reasons for taking the seat off, so you can get the electrics under there. Okay, so ACF50 you can get in a couple of forms. The type that a lot of people buy is just this aerosol type. I find this just sprays on very, very gloopily and isn't very satisfactory. So I go for the bulk buying with the little hand pump, which when you buy it looks like that, and I find it's much easier to apply in that form. And although this is pretty expensive to buy, you don't need very much to cover your whole bike. The idea is you're going to put a very fine layer all over the bike, so actually it works out a pretty economical application. Okay, so I've filled up my one of these with ACF50. I've put it in a bowl of hot water where it's been standing for 10-15 minutes just to warm it up, because the idea is I want to mist it onto the bike as much as possible. So that's what I'm going to do now, get some gloves on and start misting the bike with ACF50. So jolly good shape, and then just spray in amongst the electrics. As you can see, it goes on pretty gloopy, but that doesn't matter because it's doing good. Just make sure you get it in amongst it basically. Now, as you can see, it makes a right old gloopy mess on it and looks hideous, but don't worry, let it just soak in there for a bit. It creeps into all the crevices and runs into all the bits that you can't see, and then once I've gone around the whole bike and left it for a few moments, I'll just wipe that with a microfiber, and this will look absolutely fantastic, and it'll all be protected for the winter. Inside the shocks are and the forks, all gets a jolly good dousing. Not forgetting underneath the bike. Okay, so as you can see, it's absolutely covered in the stuff now, and it looks pretty grim, but I'm going to leave this now for 10 to 15 minutes to do its creeping work, and then I'm going to give it a wipe over with the microfiber, and should look absolutely fantastic and be protected for another 6 months, or certainly through the rest of this season. Okay, so the bike's sat now for 10-15 minutes completely covered in this amazing coating. It looks hideous at the moment, I know, but don't worry about that, because you just take a microfiber and you give it a wipe, and you can see it does wonders for your plastics, for number one. Just brings them up really lovely, and then everywhere else you don't mind, you just kind of wipe it so it's just not got loads of excess on it. It's very easy to do that, and you just work your way around the bike basically. So there we are. That's it. That's the bike done. I've wiped her over, and she's all lovely and clean and covered in ACF50. As I say, it lasts. It stays active for up to 18 months. So it'll work now for the rest of the winter season, then all through summer, and then I'll apply it again about November time next year when they start sorting the roads again. So as you can see, I'll just show you a few shots now of around the frame now wiped her down. She does look great once she's been done. Just one thing to mention is that when you start the bike up, she will smoke a lot because obviously there's basically there's oily substance on the hot parts. But give it 10-15 minutes of riding, and then all the smoke will dissipate and you'll be absolutely fine. What it does do is leaves a lovely smell to your garage as well, which I rather like, but that's just me probably. Anyway, I hope that's been of some interest to you. I do recommend doing that. I've used ACF50 twice on all my bikes every year since I've had them, and they're all still looking as good as new in my view, and I think that's down to the ACF50. So look forward to speaking to you next time. Until then, this has been the Mr. and Flyer. Cheerio. Okay, so I said I was going to do the experiment for a week, but in fact this is just 4 days later, and quite a graphic illustration there of how the ACF50 protects the metals. Just look at that. This is the one that had no protection, and there's rust and tarnishing all over it, and this is the one that we did with ACF50. Absolutely fine. What a great demonstration of how good that stuff is.